All right, everyone, welcome back to the show. You got Chad, you got Ricky, you got Julio. We're talking ticket stubs this segment. but please check us out on our Instagram page at Back to the Future Podcast. It's where we'll post the information about any meetups in Vegas. We post all sorts of good and interesting content on there, and give the big announcements as to when you need to go download stuff like Tim's Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah, very good.
All right, so for this segment, what kind of led to this is I have an old fraternity brother who's in the hobby and known to probably a lot of people, depending on the circles. And we've been toying around with reaching out to him, and I plan to do that and have him on the show soon. But he is on his Instagram. His Instagram's insane. It will make any collector jealous the second you see it. I think today he posted his Luka Doncic game-worn jersey from his rookie year, maybe.
Oh, the whole jersey?
The whole jersey.
Oh, boy. Okay.
And about a dozen Luka rookie cards, prisms, PSA Gem Mint 10.
Wow. So you two took different collecting paths in your life.
Clearly. Clearly.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but he really loves in his posts the idea of these tickets. So it got me thinking, got me researching a little bit. And I realized that there really is quite a market for these tickets, more than we realized, and wanted to have a discussion of whether we think that this could be either the future of the hobby or an extension of the hobby at some point. Maybe it already is, and it's foothold in. I mean, clearly with some of the things we're going to talk about, but I want to get your perspective. Generally speaking, how have you historically felt about tickets?
I haven't put a whole lot of thought into them, to be honest. I came across a few when I was going through some of the boxes that my parents had in their basement. Mm-hmm. I know I have one frame that we'll talk about in a little bit, but generally, at the time when I was a kid, I was like, oh, I should keep this.
Yeah.
For some reason, and then I end up keeping it, and then later I just toss it.
Did you ever save like all your movie ticket stubs when you were like 16 with your girlfriend?
My wife's going to listen to this.
Well, but you didn't.
And you're damn right I did.
I did too. And then you get to be like 18. You're like, what the hell am I doing?
Yep. You finally need in that box that's been under your bed.
Yep. We've both done that.
Yeah. You take that box out, you throw it in the trash, you light it on fire, you pee on it, and then you poop on it, and then
go have
fertilize it. And
go have yourself an afternoon.
Yeah, that's right.
So historically, I'm the same way. I haven't really kept my tickets, and I haven't ever thought about it after I started to grow up, I guess I'd say. And I don't mean that as a knock on tickets. It just is how I developed. And there have been a couple big ones for me that we saved just by pure luck. They came with a lanyard. And what I'm talking about is I was at the Texas USC 06 National Championship game, as well as the Packers Super Bowl championship. That was probably 2011.
Oh, I forgot you went to that.
It caused a big controversy in our friend group because
that's right.
My dad and brother are big Packers fans. I was a Packer fan at one point before I became a Lions fan at a young age.
Yeah.
And so I threw on a Packers jacket and all hell broke loose when that went on social media.
That was against the Steelers, right?
It was.
So I have a quick little story about that. I was on call at the pediatric hospital up here, and one of the kids, I was on call the day of the Super Bowl game, and one of the kids that I was rounding on, he was here, he had cystic fibrosis. So his parents would come and drop him off. He'd stay there for like 3 weeks for a clean out, then he'd go home. And this was just a regular bit for him, so the parents weren't there.
Sure.
He was a big Packers fan, I found out.
Okay.
And I get money to buy food when I'm on call. And they give you way more money than what you need. It's like $30 a meal, and they have snacks and all sorts of stuff because it's hospital. So talk to the nurses, make sure I didn't get any calls. I loaded up all the snacks from the cafe and went into his room and watched the game with him.
Oh,
it was awesome.
That is freaking amazing.
That kid hates Katy Perry. I want to say that there was a commercial with her. She did the show or something. And I just couldn't believe how mad he was at Katy Perry. I was like, wow, that really stood out to me, but it was a memorable moment.
That is awesome. And it's stuff like that makes your career worth it.
Right? Yeah, that was a good one.
So I did save these, and they kind of just made it into my box with, I've got my old high school baseball uniform and all sorts of crap, right?
Yeah.
So I did go do some digging. I couldn't find my Packers ticket. And Chad, you know this. When I say digging, that means it's 10 minutes before I have to leave for the show. And I say, shit, I got to go look for these.
Yeah.
So I haven't found the Packers yet, but I did find the Rose Bowl Stadium, the national championship ticket.
Can I take a look at that?
Of course. It's a big boy.
Wow.
And they scanned those. I think that's when they just started scanning. And so I was able to keep the ticket in full. And I think that is a prime example of a ticket that I would love to get encased by PSA.
My goodness, man. This is a good looking ticket here.
It's a big boy.
What do you think this is? 3 to 4 inches by 8? 10?
Yeah, I'd say so.
It's big.
Yeah, they're massive.
Glossy.
And I think that if I remember correctly, the Super Bowl will be tickets similar. Those two are clear choices to me. Now, I have noticed when PSA slabs these, they'll slab like what the game was and the date, but then they will put stuff like Vince Young's final game.
Oh,
at
really?
Texas. And I don't know how they do that. If you can fill out the form and write in a note on what happened.
We should have looked into this before. I'll try and pull it up right now.
We should have, and I should have looked into it. But I don't know how they come to that decision. But I think that this is a no-brainer to get a ticket of a big event, a big event,
right?
That you have been to. It's a no-brainer. You keep that, you frame it, you do something with it. And you were even talking about you had the ticket from the last Jazz Bulls game, right?
I know I have it somewhere. I haven't been able to find it. I texted my mom last night to see if she had it readily available, and she's like, "No, I don't."
Can you go look for it?
I know. Come on, Mom. I'm doing a show with my friends. But I know that somewhere that ticket laying around, and
see, that would be another one, I think.
it would be. And those tickets to that game, those were kind of the old Smith ticks. I don't know if ticks was a thing nationwide, but
Just
it was like a local
tickets.
grocery store. That's where you would go buy the tickets back then.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's kind of a generic ticket, but that one's out there somewhere. And then I also, one that I have framed that I've just had seemingly forever since I was a kid is 1997 playoff game between the Broncos and the Jaguars. Now, not the wild card game, I think where the Broncos got bounced by the Jaguars the year before when the Broncos were expected to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But it was the first year they won the Super Bowl. And I've got that ticket with the program.
So
and
cool.
I was really happy when I found that yesterday
Yeah.
when I was kind of pulling up the show outline and saw that.
Yeah. Now, I guess the question, and we're going to jump into the value on these tickets in just a minute, but I want to just ask a couple more initial questions.
Okay.
Do you have any interest in tickets that you were not at the game?
If they're of a team that I enjoy or a player or, if there were games that I was watching at a bar, like watching with you, we had a good time. So
Sure.
I think a game that came to mind, like a BYU UCLA game, right? Like
Yeah.
where you and I kind of had some memorable inside joke moments with that game. There would be some potential interest there as well.
Well, and I hope I don't mess up this name, but Armando Galaraga.
Okay.
And I actually have purchased a ticket for this. They sold it through the Detroit Tigers website, and this is the 28 out perfect game. If you remember,
Oh, no kidding.
the umpire blew the call on the final out of the game at first. It was a play at first.
Okay.
Andres Galarraga Armando, I think it's Armando, was the pitcher. He goes to cover first, beats the guy clearly. There's no instant replay at the time of this game. They call him safe. Ruins the perfect
yes,
game.
I do remember that.
The umpire cried after, and the pitcher came out the next day, hugged him in front of everyone to show it's okay. Mistakes happen. And his response was so cool.
It's not okay.
It's not okay. I agree with you. I'm furious. I've never let it go.
I'm sorry.
But he had such an adult appropriate response to life that I found so refreshing. I said, this is going to be something I'll tell my kids about.
Yeah.
So I had to get this ticket. Now,
That's cool. And it is okay. I was joking. to those kids out there, it's important to understand that doesn't define someone's life.
it is. And then I've also just very briefly, and I'm going to jump back to you in just a sec, Chad, done this. What I've done with the Galaraga Perfect Game ticket, this is before I even sent cards in to be graded. I didn't know that it existed. I laminated these. And I've been telling Chad and Tim for a long time, these make fantastic bookmarks.
Yeah.
You can do it with some common tickets. I've done it with a Utah. This is just a common Utah game.
Oh, that looks cool.
Yeah, if you have a cool design on the ticket.
Uh-huh.
This is another one when Utah played at Notre Dame. Again, just
Oh, right.
they are literally the perfect design of a bookmark.
They can also be quite valuable if you get them slabbed instead.
Yeah, so
You can put them in your tire spokes, or
well, and I'm thinking that you do this with your cheaper, less expensive tickets that are not as nice.
yeah, sure.
Definitely don't do what I did. And after watching Miguel Cabrera rock a homer and the Tigers destroy the Yankees at home when you sat 4 rows behind home plate, don't go laminate that ticket.
Oh no,
It'll burn it.
No,
You got to be careful with the lamination regardless.
Right.
But I think that for the right ticket or the big enough event, I think that this is a really cool way to collect.
I do as well. And going back to the PSA grading on them, I've got
Yes.
some facts here pulled up. And you're right, they grade them exactly as they do with cards. The slabs are the same. They fit them to the ticket. And they look pretty good. It almost looks as though there's a black border
Why can't they
surrounding them.
Why can't they slab booklet cards better when they can do tickets this way?
That is a great question. And logic doesn't really seem to apply there. So a few things that they posted here. Set registry, just like for cards. It can help increase the value. Okay, we've seen that. Security, I was wondering if they were putting effort into stating that the tickets were real, but they were just saying that the card or that the ticket will be secure in the slab. But they say, we've got the facts. It has never been easier to find information on your favorite PSA graded ticket. Discover expert narratives, collecting articles, pricing, populations, and checklists all in one place with PSA ticket facts.
Okay.
So that's kind of interesting. They have ticket grading is available right now for $50 a ticket for Express. Interesting, maximum declared value up to $2,000. So there's the market. The Super Express declared value of $5,000 as well. And then you can get your ticket on there as well.
How are people sending in their Kobe Bryant final game ticket with an autograph that sold for $31,000? I want to claim $31,000.
Well, there is one.
Okay.
So there's like an extra link you have to click. But they also state that the autograph cards, they'll authenticate, or the autograph tickets, they will authenticate them as well.
And that's another aspect to this is, to you, if it's a game that you haven't been at and it's not autographed, still okay?
To pay for this?
To go buy a ticket to a game that you did not attend and was not autographed by anyone of note.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think so. It's not a whole lot different from a card, right? I mean, there's going to be different reasons why you may buy that. You may buy it to display it because it was memorable for you. You may buy it because your favorite player was there to put on display, or you may buy it because you say, hey, this is something that in the future hold more value. I want to resell it.
Exactly.
It's never something that you and I have done, so we don't really know much about that market, but I know that market would exist because, boy, pulling some of these up on eBay and some of these examples that you have, my goodness, some of these go for quite a bit of money.
Yeah, let's jump into a couple of these. So I'd collected a number of news outlets in the past few months that have reported on some of these ticket sales. A Kobe Bryant, his final game ticket, which it was against the Jazz.
Yeah,
That was an awful game.
that was tough.
It was autographed and valued at $31,700.
And that was an upper bowl ticket.
Yeah. It did.
That ticket looked great, though. It's got Kobe walking off like into a tunnel. I think a towel around him. Boy, that one looked good.
I completely agree with you. And what I'm saying, some of these, you can find these visually appealing tickets and find a use for them if you read.
Yeah.
Bookmark. But I'm just saying, the ticket design itself might be a reason to slab even. If you want, can you imagine year after year if you had red uniforms, white uniforms, black uniforms, Utah? That might be a good look and slabs.
Now that, well, we're going to run into a hiccup here that you're going to talk about in just a little bit with electronic tickets, but
go ahead.
With paper tickets going forward, why don't we, sporting events are opening back up.
Yeah.
Why don't we try and make a goal that each year we set aside our favorite ticket from the year, slab it, and then over time, when we're old grumpy men, so in a couple of weeks, we can look back on it and reflect on some of our favorite sporting events. Like that, that's a great use for it.
I think that is a fantastic idea, and I will totally join you in that.
Let's do it.
Now, Additional tickets that we've seen sold, Tiger Woods' debut ticket sold for $37,200.
God, how many of those got to be out there? Right? Like, how many people do they let into these golf events?
Well,
thousands and thousands.
I agree with you, and but I wonder how many saved the ticket. I don't think it's a common thing. I think that's why this might be work for the market, because you kind of have that card in the spokes built in where everyone just throws out their tickets anyway.
Right.
We had a Michael Jordan regular season debut ticket stub, unautographed, and this thing looks like crap. This is the example of Smith's ticks, I thought.
Yeah, 25 grand, right?
Sold for 25 grand.
Woo!
Against the Washington Bullets. It's not even a full ticket, because back then they just tore it in half. I don't know that I would pay $25,000 for that.
I mean, if you're a big-time Jordan collector, I guess so, and we'll talk about that here in just a moment.
Then we also have a Tom Brady debut signed ticket, which sold for over $15,000. Now, on this one, I had a hard time finding the final auction price. I could go to the auction page, but it said, this is closed. We're not disclosing how much it sold for. But early on, it was trending at 15 grand. I'm convinced it sold upwards of 25, 30.
I see no reason why it wouldn't sell for more. His first game autographed. I mean,
Well, and that ticket looked cleaner than Michael Jordan.
I agree. I completely agree.
And then I also sent you guys a link to a guy that is a huge collector of tickets.
This was impressive,
wasn't it? I thought that might get you guys a little bit excited. What were your thoughts about this guy in general?
So you're gonna see if I actually read it, and I did. The fact that this guy is trying to collect every game that Jordan ever played, right? Is in 1,200 games. That's what he said, correct? And he already has 3/4 of that, above 900 tickets that he's collected of Michael Jordan game played. Is that right? That number doesn't sound
900 does not sound high enough.
But I mean, that's what he said. He has 962 of the 1,264 games played in that article.
That's less than 10 years. But hold stats. We're missing something.
No, that'd be 15 years, right? 8 games a year.
Oh, 80. You're right.
Right. So it'd be about 15 years. So maybe that'd be about right.
Like I said, he either has it right or we're missing something.
And what are you doing with those when you have 900? I mean, are you getting them slabbed? I mean, a lot of the photos in here are slabbed.
A lot are. I would have them all slabbed, and then I would sell them as a set and never think about anything again.
Gosh, think about the cost just of slabbing those. But I mean, very impressive. I mean, that is very impressive.
I think if you find the right collector, don't you think that sells for a ridiculous price?
Yes, because even just look at the ticket stub. So you have one pulled up of the Dodgers right now. But you look at that, and if you think about an individual game, it's almost like a photograph, right? Where they say it's worth 1,000 words. Yeah. That stub, just think of, if you really want to get deep with it, think how many different memories from different people are there, not only from the stadium, but across the world to watch that game.
Right.
And in a small way, you've got a piece of history of that. In a small way.
Yeah.
It's better than an authentic piece of jersey that has never touched a player.
I agree with you completely on that. And honestly, I think that this guy is going to have something that no one else has, especially Michael Jordan collectors. I think that if he wanted to sell this, we might be looking at the new Bill Gates. Maybe not that much, but okay. So moving on, one thing that we experienced at the hockey game this past week was all our tickets were on your phone.
Yep.
Oh, and that's becoming more popular. In fact, the University of Utah, who printed this really cool ticket a couple of years ago, a year or two ago, they already have gone to all virtual because of COVID. I think there's a good chance it never comes back, the hard ticket.
Yep.
And what does this mean for, are we done before we even got started? And my follow-up question is, would you be interested, or should teams do this, when they're offering a virtual ticket to a game, should they offer you the option to buy a hard ticket for an additional price?
Some places have, at least some locally. I know that Real Salt Lake did when I had season tickets there. Let's think about this. So we're saying that these ticket stubs, essentially there could be thousands of them to each event. So it's a base Prism card.
Yes.
Right? And there's some value in those if people hold on to them or grade them. And then you're stopping production of more base.
Yep.
But if this ever picks up and becomes much more popular than it is now, and you have a finite number of tickets out there, the price will go up.
Yeah, they'll skyrocket of what you have so far. Yeah.
Yeah. So on the vintage tickets, there's possibility for profit there if you want to invest in them.
I think so.
Let's get Tim to buy 1,200 Jordans and see what happens.
Yes. For me, I think, I do think teams should offer it. I think it's a great way to gouge your sports fans, which all sports teams love to do.
Yep.
And I would buy it, especially if I was at the game. I would be more okay with a ticket that was not used for a game I attended, as long as it had my seat number, row number, all that.
Okay.
I'm less excited about the idea of, let's say, 2023 Chicago Bulls first home game, getting a hard ticket from that game that was never issued, because they all issued electronic tickets, but purchased. That almost feels like a replica.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
So something to keep an eye out. Go check out some of these cards in the card market. I looked up my my national championship ticket thinking I was going to retire rich. It's not quite there yet, but we're working on it.
If you had to pick one or two, I pulled out one or two thoughts of what I would do just really quickly as far as what tickets I would want and why. And I wasn't quite sure where to insert them, so I'll just do it now.
Okay.
First one, game that I did not attend that I would want to have the ticket stub to, 97 Western Conference Finals, Game 6, Stockton.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You see it. I mean, we've talked about this at length. It just gives you the warm fuzzies inside. You know where you were when it happened. It was an iconic game. Tim Pause. And it's a great part of our life.
It is. And honestly, I don't know that there's an event I would rather have a ticket to more than that.
Oh.
Funny, I should say that.
July 4th, 1939.
Okay.
Any thoughts?
Is that did the Tigers win?
Washington Senators at New York Yankees. I think the Senators. I scribbled again.
Oh, is this Babe Ruth?
Lou Gehrig.
That would be
the
cool.
speech.
That would.
What do you think?
You're such a dork.
What? Don't you think that would be amazing to have the ticket stuff from that game?
Shocker, the doctor wants the player medically releasing his diagnosis.
Hey!
No, I agree. That would be freaking amazing. I'm kind of jealous I didn't even think of that, because when I think, I go to initially my favorite sports teams.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, today I consider myself, the luckiest man
in the world.
Yeah, it's something like that. It's very iconic, and neither of us can come up with it, so I can't wait to read Instagram on Saturday. That'll be great.
On the face of the planet or the world?
Luckiest man on the face of the planet. Oh, God.
I think it's the world.
I'm checking out Instagram Saturday. Do not message me. Do not hate me. I already hate myself.
All right, Chad. It's time we give back to the listeners. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Pack to the Future podcast top 5 card contest.
We should have known that quote, man. I'm in sorts right now.
You're panicking. I think I've got it.
Yes.
In the world.
Get us to segment 3.
All right, we'll be back with more contest award winners. We're going to do some exciting things in just a minute. Yeah. We'll be back after this.
Oh my God, what is it? Today I consider myself the luckiest man. I don't think that's what it is.
Today
I consider myself the luckiest man
on the face of the earth.
On the face of the earth, yeah. That's what I said.
I said the world.
Oh, dude, we're going to get murdered for that. Murdered for it.
Oh, fuck.
I'm like, yeah, that would be the greatest ticket to have in the history of sport. His famous speech where the guy says...
You know, the guy had that one speech?
Oh, my God. Hey,
you got the date right, though.
It's been a long week, and we're both tired.
That's exactly it.
And I need my paper.